Welcome to the Papyrus Global Television News Update. I am Christiana Babayo. First, the headlines. Tinubu's economic reforms show signs of stabilization. Efcc warns NGOs against potential terrorist infiltration and financing risk. President Bola Tinubu reaffirms unwavering commitment to democracy and rule of law. Nigeria receives first shipments of long-acting HIV prevention injection lenacapavir. French Embassy launches @X Impact campaign to promote gender equality. TUC Women's Commission demands stronger economic justice and gender equity policies for women in workforce. IOM reports ongoing displacement crisis in northern Nigeria, calls for urgent humanitarian support. Senate advances FCT 2026 budget and confirms Professor Taiwo Oyedele as Minister of State for Finance. PDP BOT rejects appeal court ruling on Ibadan Convention, sets up reconciliation committee. Protests erupt in Ondo and Oyo states over kidnappings and violent attacks. And now the news in details. Nigeria's economic reform program under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is beginning to stabilize the economy, according to Finance Minister Wale Edun. Speaking at briefings in Abuja on March 10, 2026, Edun highlighted that removal of fuel subsidies in May 2023 and unification of foreign exchange windows in June 2023 have produced early positive results. Structural imbalances such as high inflation, declining reserves, heavy debt, and currency distortions are gradually being addressed. After initial shocks in 2024 that drove up inflation on living costs, data from late 2025 and early 2026 indicate easing pressures. Fiscal revenues have improved through better tax administration and digital monitoring, allowing reduced reliance on borrowing and increased spending on infrastructure, energy, agriculture, and social protection. GDP growth averaged 3.5 to 3.7% in 2025, with expectations of acceleration in 2026. Analysts note persistent challenges in urban centers like Lagos, Kano, and Port Harcourt, especially high food and transport costs. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission raised alarms over potential terrorist infiltration of non-governmental organizations. Efcc Chairman Ola Olukoyede warned on March 11, 2026 that extremist networks could exploit NGOs to disguise illicit funding as donations, particularly in insurgency-affected northeast states such as Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. While praising NGOs' humanitarian work, the EFCC urged stronger governance, audits, and donor verification and stressed collaboration with the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit and DSS. Workshops are planned in Lagos, Kano, and Port Harcourt to enhance sector safeguards without restricting legitimate activities. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu reaffirmed his administration's dedication to democracy and the rule of law in a statement from the presidential villa on March 12, 2026. Describing himself as a die-hard Democrat, he pledged continued support for INEC, technological innovations like BVAS and electronic result transmission, collaboration with the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Tajuddin Abbas, the Speaker, and the independence of the judiciary. Nigeria marked a major boost in HIV prevention with the arrival of lenacapavir, a long-acting injectable PrEP providing 6-month protection. Announced on March 12, 2026 by NACA DG Dr. Peter Oye and Health Minister Dr. Amina Bello in partnership with Global Fund and UNICEF, the injection addresses adherence challenges. Distribution will begin in Lagos on March 20th and Kano on March 25th, complementing ongoing efforts towards UN/AIDS 95-95-95 targets by 2030. The French Embassy in Nigeria launched its @X Impact campaign on March 12, 2026 to promote gender equality and empower women. Ambassador Audrey Lacroix unveiled the initiative in Abuja, combining art, exhibitions, workshops, and mentorship in cities, including Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Kano. The campaign collaborates with artists such as Njideka Akunyili, Crosby, and targets rural areas including Enugu, Kaduna, and Borno, aiming to reach tens of thousands throughout 2026. The Trade Union Congress Women's Commission called on March 12, 2026 for stronger policies on economic justice and workforce equality. Chairperson Funke Adeyemi highlighted wage gaps, underrepresentation and discrimination, urging equal pay, expanded benefits and support for women entrepreneurs. The Federal Ministry of Labour pledged collaboration with CSOs like WIMBIS, organizing workshops to promote inclusive laws and gender-sensitive budgeting. The International Organization for Migration reported ongoing displacement in northern Nigeria on March 12, 2026. Over 500,000 people are displaced in Borno, with more than 200,000 affected in Kano, Katsina, and Jigawa due to conflicts and clashes. Vulnerable populations face food insecurity, inadequate shelter, and health risk. IOM, in coordination with NEMA, called for increased funding, conflict prevention, and improved data tracking to support recovery. The Nigerian Senate on March 11, 2026 advanced the 2.2 trillion naira FCT 2026 appropriation bill and approved the 1.75 trillion naira 2025 NDDC budget. The Senate confirmed Professor Taiwo Oyedele as Minister of State for Finance to focus on revenue diversification, solid minerals, and fiscal reforms. The PDP Board of Trustees rejected the Court of Appeal's ruling on the Ibadan Convention during March 10 to 11, 2026 meetings. Chaired by Senator Adolphus Wabara, the BOT formed a reconciliation committee and urged unity ahead of the 2027 elections amid ongoing factional tensions. Protests erupted in Ondo and Oyo states on March 10, 2026 over kidnappings and violent attacks. In Ondo, residents near Akure Airport demanded intervention from Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa after killings and abductions. Similar unrest occurred in rural Oyo communities. Police intensified patrols while analysts warned of potential erosion of public trust and called for sustained government action. And that brings us to the end of the Papyrus Global Television News Update. Before we go, a recap of the news headlines. Tinubu's economic reforms show signs of stabilization. Efcc warns NGOs against potential terrorist infiltration and financing risks. President Bola Tinubu reaffirms unwavering commitment to democracy and rule of law. Nigeria receives first shipments of long-acting HIV prevention injection lenacapavir. French Embassy launches @X Impact campaign to promote gender equality. TUC Women's Commission demands stronger economic justice and gender equity policies for women in workforce. IOM reports ongoing displacement crisis in northern Nigeria, calls for urgent humanitarian support. Senate advances FCT 2026 budget and confirms Professor Taiwo Oyedele as Minister of State for Finance. PDP BOT rejects appeal court ruling on Ibadan Convention, sets up reconciliation committee. Protests erupt in Ondo and Oyo states over kidnappings and violent attacks. For continuing coverage, analysis and in-depth reports on these and other national developments, stay connected with the Papyrus Global Television. Also visit thepapyrusdaily.com for breaking news as it happens. I am your host, Christiana Babayo. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of the entire newsroom and production team, have a safe and pleasant evening.